a lot of it. There's a lot more that goes into this that I also want to talk about as we go through this series.
Yeah, but we first need to figure out where we're going to be going for game number 1 between these two teams. Map bans are going to be very interesting. We'll see how they unfold as Team 12 ends up taking away Dragonshire, one of Tempo Storm's very best maps. Tempo ends up sticking to their traditional ban by ridding of Battlefield of Eternity. And then we see Team 12 picking up Infernal Shrines, the highest priority map here for Team 12. So far, both teams sticking to plan, except for the adjustment there. Team 12 is normally a team that ends up going towards that Curse Hollow ban. We see them ridding of that, and Tempo is not afraid to pick that up. So Tempo's got to feel slight advantage already through the map bans and seeing more respect given on the side of Team 12.
The Tempo has been nothing but dominant on Dragonshire, and there is no escaping how strong they are. But as you and I were talking about this morning, in that second week of this year when Tempo faced off against Team 12, the second game of that series was on Battlefield of Eternity, where Team 12 was able to pick up the victory. In every series since then, Battlefield has been the primary ban for Tempo Storm going forward since then.
Here we are. What is Tempo going to be looking to rid of? It looks like it is just going to be a Snap Garrosh. So already, I want to raise this now, knowing that we're on the new patch, seeing some of the European games. Now that Garrosh, not so much that Garrosh is banned, but now that the changes have come into Varian, and the threat that he provides towards that single target lockdown, having the opportunity to move into the taunt at 4. I feel like whenever we see Garrosh banned out, I immediately go, you know, if we see those kind of Genji tracers, is that variant going to be a problem here, even for North America?
It's going to be a fun one, because with the taunt now at level 4, which is, I don't know if we're going to see anything other than taunt, obviously. It's really powerful, and if you can use that, and sometimes you kind of question, can I get the early game picks using taunt? Because generally level 4 is there for the first objective. If it's a different map like Sky Temple, the team can just avoid a fight. When you're on Infernal Shrines, it's hard to avoid a fight. So if you can get that early pick, that can give you that snowball momentum in the early game to control a lot of the early objectives.
Tempo, though, going to stick to the Maiev here, which has been, you know, pretty common for North American practice. If she's ended up letting through those first bans, she's going to be that first pickup. Now we got to be asking ourselves, what do we see out of Team 12? Normally, you'd be looking in this kind of area, maybe not on Infernal Shrines, but things like that. Garrosh coming online. A support priority is inevitably going to be something we see here from Team 12. And that's another thing we got to be asking ourselves. You know, Tempo has a different priority on supports than every other team in North America, number 1. And then number 2 is, I personally feel like we've seen enough rigidness and kind of struggle within drafts consistently through North America that I think we're going to start seeing a shift in paradigm, especially on the new patch.
I think the thing that scares me, though, Dreadnought, to further your point, is where does Team 12 lie in that? When they're at their strength, things look good, but too often they're changing things up within the same series, throughout the weeks. When I'm looking at the drafts coming into this week, I'm like, where are Team 12's potential problems at? As we see the Diablo Blaze being picked up, things about to get hot here as the fire is going to be coming out from both those. But it's about draft. When it comes to Team 12, Justine's played 7 different tanks in 12 games, and they all have a different style of play. It's like Team 12 has not developed a style with which they want to play in. They feel like they can do a lot. The same can be said about Dansky, 7 different heroes. Cure, 6 different heroes. All these players they're trying a lot, and I feel like while they've defined the roles, they necessarily haven't defined a play style. And I think that's their next step, because they've taken the place for the roles to say, this is where we're going to play within, but I feel like they got to narrow it a little bit to define themselves.
I think that's a great point. You know, it's almost, getting that identity for the group, you know, because you throw out those numbers and I feel like maybe for an average audience member, you kind of go, yeah, but I've heard Arthlon can play like 18, 19 heroes. You know, that's pretty good. And it comes down to, number 1, the sample size you're taking from, right? We're looking at just part 2 in the games that we've played out of Team 12. And then to have that kind of diversity is usually at a lack of game plan more than it is, you know, that kind of master drafting and diversity. And I agree with you. It does feel like it is something that Team 12 needs to find an answer, or again, that identity here against Tempo Storm. Tempo going to pick up a high Johanna and a high Greymane. The Johanna stands out a little bit more, or the Greymane I feel like stands out a little bit more surprising to me than even the Johanna.
I think I got it. I think I got it for you.
All right.
Okay, since we've come back from the Clash, Tempo Storm has changed up their drafts. It's something I've talked about the last few weeks. 4 of the games that they have played, Fan has been on Greymane. It's been his most played hero coming back from the Clash. Going before the Clash, he is a dominant Greymane player, one of the best in the world. You know, obviously Xingxi coming up over from China. There was a lot of respect last year from Fan at Midseason Brawl, where he was the analyst talking about that. And so now we see this. I mean, right now, to date, Greymane is a high-risk, high-reward hero, Dreadnought. to this date, I think Fan averages like 0.8 or 0.7 deaths per game on Greymane, and he's played it, I think, upwards of like close to 14 or 15 times.
Yeah.
That is a surprisingly low number, 10 times I should say at this point. That is a surprisingly low number for Greymane players who average 1.5 or more minimum, right?
Yeah.
So he's been dominant. They've been winning. They've been undefeated with it coming back.
And the TLDR is the high risk, high reward part of that. You know, they're getting the high reward. You know, not so much of the risk end. Whenever Fan has got that within his, you know, kind of control, or maybe pause, if you will, there. Malthael was the ban, though, for Team 12. Putting a little bit of focus towards that off lane. That has been the, I believe, you know, after we rounded last week, it is the most dominant, you know, ban in that second slot here for North America. Something I thought we would see less of. In this case, you know, you can make an argument for it just because that Blaze off lane, not wanting to deal with that threat. Also pretty good execution opportunities in both the Diablo and Blaze, which are high in that health pool. But again, one of those moments where I go, you know, do I feel like it kind of packs that punch? And Team 12, I've been overly critical of, you know, their secondary ban throughout all of, you know, this phase, and it feels like that kind of, again, coming down to that identity, and I sniff that Diablo, or that Malthael adjustment, and I go, again, it still feels like it's a bit of a miss. We're going to see, you know, if they can get that recovery within their 3-4 here. Also, Alex Straw's a ban coming out from Tempo.
Yeah, it's something that we see teams occasionally pick up. It's something that Team 12 has done. To go back to the point about the Malthael ban, we've seen a lot of Dahaka. Blaze, Dahaka, Malthael are the only 3 heroes that Glaurung has played coming back from the break. His deaths have cut down significantly. Only 1 Malthael game. This is a great map for Malthael, but now you got to wonder, will Tempo go down the Dahaka route? Dahaka generally is going to try and brush stalk through the vents behind the enemy team. If you're aware that that's the playstyle that Glaurung's going to be enforcing, you need to draft accordingly, assuming that there's going to be a Dahaka.
Stukov Junkrat coming out from Team 12. This puts them in a lot of control over the map. You know, for the most part, they have a lot of opportunities to kind of cycle around. Blaze and Junkrat dominate. The 4-man still looking pretty good and, you know, solid and well-rounded. Tempo Storm has a really kind of interesting position to be in. They don't have to run traditional laning, mainly because the Johanna and the Maiev. They don't have the greatest kill potential, but they do have a lot of opportunity to move into kind of a 1-3-1 and slow out the rotations of Team 12 if they feel like they're providing too much threat. That being said, I don't look at that composition, feel like they have to. So what else would they like to move into? With the supports being different priority for Tempo Storm, still go with that Dahaka you were talking about before, but what is it? The last pick. Is it going to be the... I mean, Malfurion is still available.
That's right. How does Malfurion make it through this far?
I mean, that is, again, the unique mentality here for Tempo Storm. Will they go the Uther? It doesn't scream an Uther game, but maybe they feel like the Greymane is enough.
Especially against that, I mean, obviously the burst damage coming in from Diablo and everything, but it's really going to be a lot of poke from Junkrat. Now Team 12 has an opportunity. They need another backliner. They have an opportunity to maybe enforce some of that burst damage. The problem is Dahaka can evade some of that going underground. Maiev has that vault. Johanna has the iron skin. So do you want to commit towards something like that, or are you going to play it a little bit more standard? And, you know, Tychus is available if they want to just keep it super simple.
Got any strong feelings towards this last pickup for Team 12?
Tychus, unless they go down the Jaina Gul'dan route.
I feel like the Tychus, though, into the Johanna blind opportunities feels like it's going to be a little bit too risky. I don't like the Gul'dan with the Junkrat already. You don't have too good a synergy for the Horrify. What else are we looking for here?
Genji's still available.
Tracer, Genji are both options. I like Genji over the Tracer, I feel like, in this case. I might be wrong about that.
Time's ticking.
Yeah, either way, I don't feel like there's anything that screams, you know, an easy sell here for the composition of Team 12. Something with a little bit more of a punch, though, to help that Stukov Diablo within the laning phase. Hanzo is going to be the last pick up there. You know, not what I was thinking of, but one of the few ranged assassins that I kind of go, you know what, in any composition, I'm okay with it. I just, even the map, I view him as a hero that I know he struggles on Inferno Shrines compared to some of the rest, but I just go, he does a lot still. And I'm comfortable with it.
His struggles are starting to get alleviated a little bit on this battleground because people are changing up the build. This is something you and I go back and forth on quite a bit. We see more of the Stormbow, obviously the explosive at level 4, but I saw a build earlier, I think Dignitas ran it, where it was going into, I believe it might have been Redemption at level 1, into the Stormbow, and then going into the serrated arrowheads at level 7. So you could play around the auto attack plus have that burst damage with the Stormbow. Seemed effective, but we've seen a lot of experimentation on this battleground in particular because that scatter arrow, you don't get the pierce if you go that route till much later in the game at 16, and so it's like, where do you find that effectiveness with your scatter arrow in the early part of the game on Infernal Shrines, because there's going to be so much in the way blocking all that. So we've seen a change up, still experimenting. I still don't think we have a confirmed build yet on this battleground.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what these two teams bring out, but we have game number 1 ready for you guys. Infernal Shrines, this is Tempo Storm up against Team 12, the number 1 and 2 seed here. Well, not so much 2 seed anymore, sorry about that. I guess it is 4 seed now here for North America.
On the left side, we are going to have Team 12 kicking it off here, as that is going to be Dansky on the Junkrat. Cure on that Hanzo. We'll see. He's still waiting to lock in his level 1. Justin, of course, will be on Diablo. Goku on Blaze. That's going to leave Buds rounding it out on Stukov.
And in the red here at the top of North America is Tempo Storm. We have Glarong always in that off lane, going to be repping the Dahaka. Caterpillar up on the front line playing Johanna. We got Psalm on that Maev looking to lock people down. Fan on Greymane, cutting the, going for the throat whenever possible. And June on his Malfurion.
It's just so amazing how standout his stats have become. Fan, coming back from the break, he's now moved up. I think he's sitting at about a 13.5 KDA. The guy just doesn't die. He just flat out lives. It doesn't matter what hero he's on. He's being effective. He's getting a lot of kills. And right now, speaking of kills, Psalm making sure that he survives. Good roots in return coming out from June, making sure to keep his team nice and protected.
So already I want to be looking at what does Team 12 look to do to try and stop Tempo Storm's aggression and rotation. Tempo is hands down the best at dominating a format. If they have any upper hand over that first wave, which they very much got into their control, then they do not let go of it. You saw how comfortable Psalm was with a very aggressive shadow follow-up into a tether. This is what they do best, and arguably why they're so dominant on a map like Dragonshire, even demanding, the map ban here out of Team 12. They need to find a way to at least, if you aren't going to match tempo and you can't match tempo, then you got to answer somewhere. I would argue looking towards Glarong in the off lane. That has been something that, though it has been cleaned up recently, is without a doubt one of the, bigger weaknesses, I think, of tempo.
You bring up a good point. They sent the Diablo up there early to see if they could go that, so maybe your voice is being heard across the land, but right now we see the Sonic Arrow. It's going to give a little bit of vision, but Psalm going in, gets that tether. We've got ourselves an early skirmish here.
Yeah, but a lot of punishment going on to Fan, who can't make it out there. High risk, high reward, and that is going to be the risk taken by Tempo Storm. Great punishment from 12. Trying to get a bit more aggressive, but unlikely to advance on any farther. Team 12 gaining themselves not only the camp, but first blood there, J-How.
Yeah, remember that time I hyped up Fan about not dying on Greymane?
And then he proceeded to be the only death so far in this game.
Yeah, gonna eat my words on that one. But either way, I mean, obviously an aggressive invade. Tempo trying to bring out that punch early, and with these teams talking about momentum, if you can come in and get that early invade, obviously that sets the tone and the pace, not just for this game, but potentially the entire series. Team 12, however, able to hold on.
I can tell you it absolutely feels great on the other side of the table too. I mean, I personally feel like countering an invade feels, mentally a lot more satisfying than being the team who invades and successfully gets it. Tempo trying another invade down below. Iron Skin and Condemn is going to be enough to zone off. Rostock coming in from Glarong, ends up hitting the drag. There's going to be enough deterrence there so far with that nice lurking arm from Buds, instantly getting the interrupt.
Between the drag, the tether with the Umbral Cord, the Condemn, you're going to get pulled every which way against this Tempo team. So we'll see how it plays out here. Camp obviously stolen here in the bottom. Slight lead for 12, but everybody pretty much even across the board. Shrine activating here in about 10 seconds all the way at the top of the map. Team 12, a little bit slow to rotate here.
Yeah, they're going to be quite a few seconds behind as they have a 5-man, kind of collecting themselves here up to mid. Trying to wonder if they can catch Glarong off on the side maybe for a moment in that mid collapse, but unable to do so. Glarong playing it safe here. Blaze is going to go ahead and get the side soak over those two. Tempo Storm, meanwhile, picking up 10 skeletal defenders for themselves.
Yeah, when you have the Johanna on there and just kind of the rotation of everything, it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to do much. I do question if multiple people show here on the mid, we're going to get a response, but you kind of wonder, could we get somebody to clear that lane, kind of open up, soften up that top lane, but instead, it's going to warrant a response here from Cattle. Should be able to shine that flashlight if needed, loses 1 tower, almost 2.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point that you bring up. You know, what is that response proper for Tempo Storm? Do you push the front wall on top and help this Punisher be a bit more aggressive, or do you go to the mid lane to get an answer? I feel like they made probably the best response because of how weak this first Punisher is, and also how unlikely they are with a, you know, Johanna pretend to get those kind of all-in fights, that it's probably safer to get the response, look for, you know, a basic Punisher, get the front wall, which you see them securing now, and then maybe if that was a, you know, Punisher later on, especially post then I go, look for the siege, look for the fight. But I feel like that was Tempo being very aware of, you know, early game scaling of objectives and taking the minimalistic, you know, loss decision there for them. Very well done, and it's going to lead to Tempo then cycling out, looking to pick up their camps. No invade signs yet here for Team 12.
You know, Johanna going on the level 7 talent. We saw this completed in our series on Sunday. Subdue, if you can hit 4 members with that punish, I mean, the amount of control it gives you throughout the later part of the game. So around the shrine, maybe you get that. You get Stukov, Blaze, Diablo. You find one person out of position. You pull that together with the Condemn. You also have the tether from Maiev to kind of pull people in. And the amount of control where the slow does not wear off anymore, that is a big-time slow and a lot of control throughout the later part of the game.
We also do see a bit of adjustment out of Buds on Stukov at level 7, going with targeted excision. Now, this is something that is, I don't want to call it, you know, rare, but it is, you know, as we currently see post-Western Clash, you know, Shad version of builds, it is not the go-to. It's typically you see that increased range there with the Lurking Arm synergy of the level 1, but instead going for that, you know, single target weighted puzzle in hopes to get a bit more, you know, healing out for the squad. It helps get your passive down to 5 seconds if you end up using it only on the 1 target. What this is going to do, though, is drastically reduce that post-13 threat and kill potential that we see out of Stukov. It doesn't mean it's not there if we still see him commit to the same 13 talent with that lockdown, but the range is so much more limited that Stukov has to be in a very risky position to get that lockdown.
See how that plays out, Dread. You know, there's a lot of respect that we talked about before the series started. After that first invade, both teams being pretty neutral in the way that they're approaching this battleground. We don't see a lot of the heavy invades. We don't see people looking for the fights, looking for the skirmishes. And you look up at the top of the screen, I couldn't tell you whose experience bar might be a centimeter ahead of the other one. They're pretty even, although Tempo Storm a little bit there. We're going to have ourselves a fight. When we get to this next Shrine phase, that's when this game is really going to open up. Big heroics, potential for a lot of action, and a lot more for that Punisher to kind of open up this game and change things.
My question is towards June here. Are we going to see the Trank or the Twilight? Because I feel like this is a Twilight game, but maybe Tranquility has got to be the thought process here for them. Everybody else going with a lot of kill potential there with the Cursed Bullet pickup for Fan. Still going to be holding on to that.
Going to see if they can isolate that big health bar. Once Diablo's stacked up on those souls, he is incredibly high. You know, one thing that's interesting here is the fact that we see Goku on Blaze holding his heroic. Any chance we don't see Bunker here? Because Combustion, it's been a while since we've seen it.
I would say if there was no Warden's Cage on the other side, yes. But because of the Warden's Cage, I don't know if I see not going into the bunker. Yeah, it's going to commit to the bunker. But without that, maybe there's a world. I can see Infernal Shrines, you know, being one of the maps where Combustion can gain a lot more value. Tether's going to be dropped here onto Justin. 8 Skeletal Defenders. There goes a Cursed Bullet already onto him. Body blocks from Cattle. Warden's Cage there. The lockdown is real. It's going to force out the APOC. The Tranquility is dropped, but so is Team 12's Diablo. Justin now going to come back with those souls, but they're already down so many of these Skeletal Defenders.
It's going to be hard to come back as we see Goku aggressing forward, waiting for that Diablo. The roots go down, zoning everybody out. Starting to get the pushback as you see the Lurking Arm go down. To the point you made at level 7, you can see the positioning by Buds had to be much farther forward to be able to put that down without that level 7 upgrade.
To be honest, it's severe enough of a, you know, kind of setback that I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see that 13. Isolation comes out here from Glorong. Tempo's getting aggressive.
Getting very aggressive. Johanna and team going in, gets the slow onto that. They go forward. Bunker is down, but Justin looking for a kill of his own. Glaurung forced to burrow down. Hanzo and team trying to put the damage out, and they manage to get more, and they're looking for extra credit here.
They end up getting not only this last kill onto Psalm, but then that Punisher to be able to back it up. Tempo Storm, after getting zoned out there, the camp pressuring top the entirety of that, Punisher phase. This is going very good here for Team 12, and maybe, you know, the first signs of a team pulling ahead over the other, especially after Glorong just burned his burrow. As long as they save CC, he can only get out with a brush draw. And that is going to be, for sure, Glorong going down here up on top.
Oh, instead, Hanzo ends up getting picked there. So all that pressure, there is absolutely no peel, no tank. Glaurung somehow is surviving, getting just kind of bounced around. I mean, poor Glaurung, you know he's not making it out of there, but they save, I don't know, this fort will probably go down, but getting the trade, not terrible in this instance.
I mean, that's got to be great for Tempo Storm. The fact that that kill on top took that long, it really put them in a position to where, you know, the mid fort didn't have to drop. Granted, that probably could have gone down if Team 12 had put more resources towards there rather than committing that kill up on top. But it was pretty much going, hey, we're going to get this fort for free and a kill on top. And Tempo, again, it's almost dead, but this is that small stuff where Tempo is not willing to give it up. Much like I would argue the decision-making over the first defense. Do you defend mid versus defending that top fort? Tempo Storm just making sure they lose as little as possible in every situation they can. But I don't want to take away anything here from Team 12. They are, that entire Shrine phase, how they decided to apply the pressure when they applied the pressure and how they executed that was very clean here. And suddenly, Tempo Storm, you know, by no means are they out of it, but they are at least on the back foot. And that is not something we say too often about Tempo Storm.
It's a fun way to start our day as Team 12 looking to regain some of their composure that they've had throughout this year, but obviously dropping 2 sets just recently, Dread. They need to find their footing, and they're doing it here in the early game, but Tempo Storm not that far behind. Next Shrine phase will be top lane. Blessed Shield goes out, Cure somehow survived for the moment, uses that natural agility. Big time save there from Bud.
Solom was on the hunt, but he ended up hitting a Junkrat trap. There goes the Apocalypse going down. Only going to hit one member. Vault going to be used. Warden's Cage locking down Buds. Damage is going to be there, and he's going to be first to drop between these two teams. Goku has the jet propulsion now. Justin trying to get the escape. Will make it past the wall. The concussion mine putting June in a bad spot, but not enough to get the kill here. Team 12 fighting back after the loss of Buds, but not enough to even the scales.
That was big time save there by Buds. Ended up falling in the end of that, but it could have gone what seemed to be far worse, but good setup, good initiation there by Cattle. You can tell the communication always there for Tempo Storm as we saw the Blessed Shield condemn into that Cursed Bullet. It's going to be a big thing as we move forward. You can see that Diablo obviously working on getting his souls back, sitting at 45 out of 100, so still relatively squishy, but he's pretty beefy at this point.
Tempo Storm kind of sharking around here on the upper half of the map. Goku is going to sniff it out, throw down the oil, and then also jet propulsion out. Not wanting to deal with that. It's pretty interesting that we do see Stukov commit to the root at level 13, even though not committing to the range of 7. We'll see how often, you know, Buds is able to find himself in position to get that damage out.
The opportunities are not that high, especially with that decreased range. Now we saw the Shaman camps get quite a bit of value last time. This time with the Shrine in the top lane, probably not going to be as much, just by a little bit of vision, a little bit of space. So we can see teams just kind of moving around here, holding their spot. 16 almost here though for 12. Tempo Storm might have to find a little bit of experience elsewhere, maybe push in a different lane. It's kind of a weird thing, right? Because you have your fort down, so you can't just fall back to your fort, but Team 12 can't necessarily push your fort down if you go mid lane or bot lane. So it's kind of like a weird thing that you can almost give it up, push another lane, and then give up the Punisher and then defend at your keep.
Yeah, it is really interesting just because the amount of time and travel time that Punisher is going to have to make happen. Glaurung's looking to get that experience. The rest of Tempo Storm making it through mid. So Tempo wants this Shrine, or wants that 16 at least, as fast as they can. Dainty's got to tread lightly. That's first shadow going to be used, but you know when the second one ends up coming out, it's probably going to be a bit more offensive. Tempo after get that turret, now make the rotation up. Expect a brush stock all in here. I would not be surprised if they go
I think he just used it, actually.
Yeah, he did.
He came in. The flailing arm going out, Tranquility's out, all the buttons are being pressed. Bunker, most importantly, as that saved many lives. Bud's walking away, as is Cure. Somehow still survived,
but they keep themselves alive. Get the flip over into Solom. He gets the follow-up. Concussion Mine now putting Glaurung in a terrible position here, not able to get out. Team 12 find themselves the very first kill here, and most likely going to get this Punisher as well, as there are only 20 skeletal defenders out.
I mean, just about everybody pressed their R button on that one, and the most important one was that Bunker, as we saw Buds and Dainsky sneak out the back door. I mean, they dodged the paparazzi on that one.
Yeah, that was very well done by the side of Team 12 here. And now Tempo Storm, that's another skirmish around one of those Punishers that has not been successful for them. The Tempo Storm is, I've been critical of the Dahaka value, and so far in part 2, but they are far and above the best team at using Brush Talk into an all-in. Every single time Brush Talk happens, the whole team is initiating all at the same time. But that was one of those cases where the counter momentum of the Bunker, if that is enough to get that deterrent of that kind of explosive, Dahaka entrance, especially with the build that we normally see out of Glaurung, it's a huge setback whenever it doesn't work out right out the gates.
You can see the Punisher and Team 12 here on the keep, picking up a keep at this point. Be major value, major control. You can see Ooh, Psalm throwing out just the fear of Psalm on Maev. You could see looking to find those tether options. They save their keep. That is a major defense here for Tempo Storm.
Not going to have to worry about those catapults. It's even, more significant when you consider the wave clear control on the side of Team 12. Team 12, they end up losing a keep. They go, we've got Junkrat, we've got, Hanzo. Even, you could argue Stukov in the world of supports isn't too shabby, especially considering, reworked Malfurion, his wave clear is kind of not the same it used to be.
Poor Roots.
I'm poor everything. The Roots don't hit the minions. You don't have Moonburn at level 1 anymore. Everything about it is just like, you're just not as effective.
I mean, we only get Malf rework once a year, Dread. It happens.
Yeah, only once a year. You get that kind of shift.
Either way, 17-17, slight lead for Team 12. Except the fact that keep didn't go down, normally you can kind of keep Dahaka a little bit more honest, but now the same aggressive brush stalks that you mentioned before, you can be aggressive still instead of kind of handcuffing Dahaka to that lane and forcing him to deal with catapults as the game goes on. Instead, that's a big thing to keep in mind with that global.
Yeah, it is a very, important aspect here that Tempo Storm typically is able to rely on with their composition, with their drafting, again, because they are one of the higher Dahaka value teams here. Team 12 is making it look good, though, with even the adjustments in the build. I don't feel like I've seen any moments where, I've seen Buds be able to lock down anybody with the root, but, one thing that is hard to keep in mind with this build specifically on Stukov, especially from a commentary, unless you're the player itself, keeping track of when he's hit only one target and then got the reset to 5 seconds in, this build is far better at keeping an individual target alive.
Ooh, they've got their eyes on Justin here.
Not going to commit, though. Johanna actually ended up backing out there. Going to play the more passive route.
I will say this is a big step up, and I need to see this more from Team 12. The biggest thing for me when I watch this team is sometimes the lack of communication, people getting caught out, pathing a little bit weird, and it seems like there's always that little bit of miscommunication. You could see the ping there, warning him, making sure he didn't step out too far. It's something that they've been punished pretty heavily on in the past, and you could actually see Diablo able to complete his soul quest there. So really beefy, does have that respawn in case he dies.
And I think that's a really great point to bring up. Not only, that kind of miscommunication in the mid game for Team 12, but also kind of remind everybody at home that Team 12 lost to Gale Force Esports and Heroes Hearth Esports last weekend, right? And that is, again, those are very formidable teams, but this is very much, we're looking at what a lot of people were assuming. This is our clear number 2 in North America. So after the struggles of last week and then game number 1 to come in against Tempo Storm, and they have looked good. They've won every single Shrine fight this game.
It's personal expectations, it's outside expectations, it's commentator expectations. Literally everybody kind of had Team 12 there. And you got to think that the pressure's there, right? I mean, there's no way that you don't think that highly, and then one setback could be crippling.
Yeah, mentally, that can be absolutely devastating for a team. Both teams ended up picking up the Shamans. Race to 20, won by Team 12, but it's still going to be far enough out that it is going to make some sketchy decision-making for a moment here over this middle shrine. Maev did end up going for the clear on top, but Justin's going to force the initiation knowing that's happening. Glaurung gets the brush lock in. Apoc's forced to be used after that cursed bullet. Tranquility is here as the Riptire kind of dancing around. Going to get the explosion, 22-17 on Skeletal Defenders.
Right now, Cattle being the aggressive one as he moves all the way forward. The Roots going down, zoning that of Team 12, and Tempo Storm retreats back to their side. It is 26-30, and just like that, Team 12 actually went from 26 to 35 real quick.
Yeah, they did, and now they're going to be able to claim not only the objective, they're going to rid of the Shaman camp up on top. They're going to be able to make, maybe a bit early of capturing.
Yeah.
Normally you want to wait on that middle Punisher so this clear can happen as slow as possible, and they definitely had enough time to get away from it. Now this Punisher might get cleared a little bit for free. The damage on mid is going to be very important. Blaze is now slow in rotation. Either way, they got the advantage. See what Team 12 can now make happen with this Punisher. It didn't end up cost them too much because the camp ended up buying enough time to where Tempo did not get that free damage out. So all is good here for Team 12.
See if we can get Dansky, get a concussion mine, maybe knock somebody out of place, get somebody over. Gonna look for that as the wall starts to go down. Sidewall is down. Kieran, Goku, and Justin looking for any opportunity, any opening to make a play. As you can see, this Punisher already at 40% and falling.
Big setup there from Buds earlier. Now we got to get the flip on Fan. Gonna get the massive shove or pushing him away. Dragon Hero goes down. Fan ends up getting one shot there on the back line. Team 12 now with a man up, still got the Punisher. set their focus onto the keep. Glorong ends up hitting a drag onto Justing.
This could be double keep play.
It might be game
if
they end up going for the kills.
They go forward. Goku going in. They get the slam back. You can see Tranquility's out. Sukov is down, as is Diablo. Bunker's there. The rest of Team 12, they've got to get on the retreat.
Yeah, they try and get into the bunker, but nobody was able to get into that entrance with the crowd control coming out from Tempo Storm. Now Goku is just delaying what is the inevitable there. Nice route from June, and that is going to seal the deal. Now 2 members of Team 12 gone for 45 seconds for the Stukov, 50 for that of the Blaze. It's going to be a long while till something can happen. What do we see Tempo Storm do? It's very important that we see them paint the map red in some manner, right? They got to get structures.
They haven't even taken a fort down yet.
Yeah, there's not a single fort dead for Tempo Storm.
You know, I feel like that was Team 12 going for the big home run play.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that Punisher's sitting at about 10% health. You're looking for that one pick. It was really interesting because Justine went in on Greymane, didn't get a stun on either of them. It just went past the edge of it. I think that's why Storm, the Dragon Arrow ended up getting used just to keep Greymane locked in. So that wasn't available when the big team fight broke out. So you could look at the small ripple effect of the way that played out as that could have been the catalyst.
And on that same note, hold up, got to get the bolt there from Justing just to get out of that. Again, showing that kind of control over the late game to make sure they aren't getting caught out here from the obviously very aggressive Tempo Storm, knowing that they have a man up. But also beyond just the, kind of Dragon's Arrow's use, but also, the bunker initiation and mainly the jet propulsion. The next initiation on the side of Justing on the Diablo, he went in and very quickly was like, okay, I don't want to do this. But already Goku's sitting there charged up. He's like, I'm going in, boys. Like, I thought this was the call. So then it puts him in a position where we have to fight. You see the rest of the team respond. And then the bunker goes down. We saw the rest here. Glorong, though, maybe going to get caught out as Team 12 already making their move toward the core. That's an isolation, and Contagion going to lock on.
They use the Dragon Arrow long distance to interrupt that. That means they are going all in on this core Dreadnought. The Riptire is out. Blaze ended up going down, trying to delay this. 70% falling. Team 12 is looking to end it.
Blessed Shield miss, 50%. Flailing Swipe, oh my goodness. 40%, 30. The blind is going to be very impactful. There goes the lockdown onto Cure. That's a lot of damage on the core. 20. It's all up to Dansky. 11, 9. Oh my, Team 12. The passive from Junkrat. It's enough! Oh my goodness! Team 12 gets the miracle backdoor!
Die on core.
Oh!
Just die on core.
My Junkrat passives, boys!
Like, so much of that still has to be broken down because there was Blaze interrupting, like, they don't have bunker. Okay, Blaze is going to be there. We're actually going to be able to take a second look at that because there was a lot that went on outside of our vision, right? Because there was so much. And if we just pause instantly, this is the main thing that we have to watch for. I think Dragon's Arrow was actually already used. So that you could actually see on the minimap, if you look at the Dragon's Arrow, actually ended up hitting, but the entire, oh, there it is. The Dragon's Arrow, that is downtown the longest Dragon Arrow. You can actually just see the icons freeze on the minimap. They're froze here because we're paused. But you can see them freeze on the minimap as well as Blaze keeping everybody there, sacrificing himself, buying time, delaying the back of that of Tempo Storm. That was insane.
And then when we see the first back happen, it's Johanna. Caterpillar's the first to make it back. Look at this Blessed Shield on the Cure. Ends up being a whip. That's a 3-man stun.
Yeah.
That there is a lot of time. Then watch the next blind that goes down because Cattle is one of the best anti-core heroes that they have on the team. Dansky does an amazing job separating himself the entirety of this core from the rest of the team, making sure he is isolated. The Blessed Shield doesn't connect. And then at that point in time, there's never enough opportunity to get kills onto both Cure, which you're worried about on the core, and Dansky. I will say I think Tempo Storm really messed up on priority on Cure over Dansky. Personally, I feel like Junkrat has far higher core value than the Hanzo does, especially because Scattering Arrow doesn't hit. Granted, we did have Redemption build. We did have more auto attack build and auto attack damage out of Hanzo. But that ending.
Just die on core. Die on core. Look, the Dansky getting out of there alive to start that, and then he kind of was over there, and as you said, the prioritization onto Cure there, and then he just kind of weaseled his way off to the side, fired a few grenades, and then it's just like, look, you got to die on core. Somebody in their comms is like, die on core, die on core. That was a crazy ending.
There are a lot of things that go into ending games, and we don't talk about the misplays on core that often because it feels like, you can always make the argument, well, that misplay is set up by a million others before, so those are the ones you need to worry about, not the ones in the last 5 seconds, right? But Dansky did so many things very, very well on that very end. I will say I think that specifically the one thing that stood out for me is pure panic out of the side of Tempo is that Blessed Shield. that Blessed Shield, not only does it have to connect and you have all the time in the world to throw it, but he threw it before anybody else is back. There's no damage. That is just a stall Blessed Shield. And I can't help but feel like, number one, it's got to hit, but then number two, it very much needs to be used when the rest of Tempo Storm makes it. Either way, Team 12 get themselves game 1 over Tempo Storm.
In my mind, I'm literally watching this unfold. I'm like, oh, they're not going to go. And I'm starting, like, you're doing the play-by-play, and I'm calculating, are they going to be able to end after they wipe Team 12 here? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. There's Junkrat value. And you're like, I'm like, oh, I guess I don't have to calculate the rest now. I think they should be able to go. No, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, no.
That was a good time.
Actually, that is one of the few, like I've kept track of Tyrael passives over the history, but I do not know, actually. I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. Like,
How many times do we see that?
Yeah,
Probably none.
Not that often. But either way, if you guys, you want to learn how to play like Dansky or the rest of Team 12, or even Tempo Storm for that matter, I wouldn't be, surprised if that game is not enough to thwart you away. Playheroes.com/HGC. We have a bunch of articles, a bunch of the data here from some of the teams. This week, you can take a closer look at, Zealots and Fnatic. At some point, I took some photos in Taiwan. You can tune into some of those.
How come I wasn't in those, by the way?
I'm sorry, but, you have to have an attractive model for the photo to be successful. It's not just...
So I need to shave my head?
Yeah, you need to
get
be
some
as cute
muscles.
as Kaldor, pretty much what I'm
Okay,
saying.
roll up my sleeves?
Yeah.
Okay, but either way, also on there, you can check out upcoming this weekend is going to be Tempest versus KSV Black. That's a big-time series over in Korea. Tempest was the #1 team going into the Eastern Clash, ended up dropping 2 between that KSV Ballistic, but that matchup is here again in the second part. That looks to be a good one as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very juicy one, much like this is a